Last week, we took a look at the Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus, and that phone, it seemed to be excellent value. In case you missed that video, here's a card to it. Now today, we are going to take a look at the regular Redmi Note 13 Pro. Given how good a value the Pro Plus seems to be, is the regular 13 Pro competitive? Does it make sense? Hey guys, Ash here from C4Retech, and in today's video, we're gonna first unbox the regular Redmi Note 13 Pro and then take a look at everything this phone has to offer. Spoiler alert, there is one major issue here that I feel severely handicaps it. The box is pretty similar to what we've already seen with gold lettering and a bold logo. Once you open the box up, we are once again greeted by a white Redmi insert. This houses a SIM ejector tool, an informational booklet, and the new and improved black soft case, since the transparent ones yellow very easily. Now this is followed by the Redmi Note 13 Pro itself. Now removing the phone from that plastic and peeling the sticker off the back, unlike the Pro Plus, the build here is devoid of any curves whatsoever. It's almost got an iPhone-y vibe. That said, I do like how this back looks. Redmi calls this the Star Sand White. They also offer the Redmi Note 13 Pro in Midnight Black, Light Dream Space, and Time Blue. Now all four SKUs, they come with glass backs. The white and black versions have a glossy finish, while the blue and purple have a more fingerprint resistant matte finish. Now while the back is glass, the sides are plastic, as evident by the lack of antenna bands. Now let me walk you around the device. As you can see, there's nothing to the left. The IR Blaster secondary microphone and speaker alongside a 3.5mm headphone jack, they are present up top. Now this is interesting to me given the more expensive Pro Plus, they cut the headphone jack on that. Anyways, the power and volume keys are located to the right. And finally, to the bottom, here's where we find the primary microphone and speaker which sandwich the USB Type-C port. And there's also the SIM tray. This sadly only takes 2 nanosims. There is no microSD support on this one too. There, however, is support for an IP54 rating to ensure the Note 13 Pro is protected from mild splashes. Now guys, as I continued using this phone, there is one thing I grew to like, and that's how Redmi's color matched the plastic sides to the actual color variant of the phone. Now take this white for example, the sides are totally white. With the blue variant, you get a blue frame, so on and so forth. The color match sides also help make the bezels appear a little slimmer. I mean, the bezels are plenty slim as is, slimmer than what we've even seen on some flagships. So Redmi, in my opinion, they've done an excellent job. Now the 13 Pro, it is less than 8mm thick while weighing in at just 187 grams. So it's not too thick, not too heavy. That said, the fact that this is a boxy design means it's not too ergonomic, it's not too comfortable to hold for long periods of time. Kind of feels like you're holding an iPhone. Maybe that's the vibe Redmi is going for. And if that is a design that you like, I'm sure you're gonna enjoy this. It's just not my cup of tea. That said, amongst all the SKUs, I do like this white one the most despite that glossy back. That's because the all-white aesthetic coupled with this back design, which kind of reminds me of Huawei's, the P60 Pro's Rococo Pearl, I feel it makes this white version stand out. Now, the fact that there are no curves here means the display is flat. And finally, we are starting to see higher than Full HD Plus resolutions on budget phones. The size here, of course, it's your typical Xiaomi 6.67 inches, but the resolution is 1.5K. It's a 12-bit OLED panel with a 120Hz refresh. Sadly, just like we saw on the Pro Plus, we don't get a 90Hz option, which would have been awesome. So you're gonna have to either leave it on auto or choose between 60 and 120. This continues to be a minor con in my opinion. Now this panel is also covered by Corning's Gorilla Glass Victus, the support for Dolby Vision and HDR10, and it can go up to 1800 nits for HDR content. And globally it can hit 1200 nits, so it's pretty easy to use outdoors even under the midday sun. Now the stereo speakers also sound pretty good. Here, have a listen. As you can see, the Redmi Note 13 Pro can run games reasonably well, but in this segment, you aren't really looking for a gaming phone. The specs, they're decent, but compared to the more expensive Note 13 Pro Plus, this is a substantial downgrade. This phone, it's powered by the Snapdragon 7S Gen 2, which I feel is fairly odd naming given the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2, the one we saw on the Redmi Note 12 Turbo, aka the Poco F5. That's almost a flagship chip, an absolute beast. The 7S Gen 2 here, it's not bad, it's nothing special, it's your standard mid-range chip. This chip, it's paired with 8, 12 or 16 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM and 128, 256 or 512 gigs of storage, which I think is UFS 3.1, though they've not confirmed it. Now the 13 Pro, it seems to run just fine for day-to-day tasks. This here is MIUI 14 built atop Android 13. Redmi has not made any promises with respect to updates, so I guess this is gonna get the standard 2+3 treatment. To keep things up and running, Redmi's included a 5100 mAh battery here. Talking about which, reminds me, we really didn't get done with the unboxing part, right? So coming back to it, we have a USB Type-A to Type-C cable with orange accents, and that's followed by a 67 watt GAN charger. Redmi claims you can charge the 5100 mAh battery on the inside to 100% in just 44 minutes, which is excellent. You know what else is excellent? The optics. We have 3 cameras to the back. And the setup, it's basically unchanged from the 13 Pro Plus. We have the same primary 200 megapixel Samsung HP3 that's paired with an f1.65 lens that's optically stabilized. We then have a secondary 8 megapixel ultra wide that's not too impressive but does get the job done, does fit more into the frame. And then we have a third sensor that's a 2 megapixel macro put there only to make up the numbers. Now the primary, it does just as good a job here as we saw on the 13 Pro Plus. Images are detailed, they have above average dynamic range, the colors are reproduced well, and even under low light the performance was more than acceptable. Now by default the images are binned down to 12 megapixels, but if you are willing to put up with the slightly longer shoot times and the much larger file sizes, you can shoot 200 megapixels, and the higher resolution is not just with numbers, it does actually bring with it a lot more detail. But, and here's the but, now this is the biggest issue with this phone. Yes, you can shoot 4K up to 30 FPS, yes there's OIS, but just look at the shake, look at the jitter. They've kind of messed up the processing entirely. Redmi seems to have lost the plot here. And this only becomes worse when you turn on the steady video option. I mean, even if I'm just slowly panning, or if I'm trying to shoot anything, it gets to the point where it's almost unusable, the footage. I mean, see how good this is? This is just 1080p footage coming out of the 16 megapixel selfie camera, the same one as on the Pro Plus. Now, if your selfie footage is actually more usable than the one coming out of your primary rear camera, you have issues. With the selfie samples, they seem fine, but HDR is a joke. Just see this. See how I kinda stand out? Looks like a bad Photoshop job more than HDR. This was with all beauty and retouching turned off. The Note 13 Pro, it just tries to very aggressively brighten up the subject, and it comes across looking ridiculous. This and the video issues that I mentioned, in my humble opinion, are major handicaps for this phone. Now Redmi has pushed out an update or two, but are yet to fix these issues. Now if they do, however, end up fixing it, then we seem to have a killer budget offering, a phone that looks nice, uses a pretty competent chip, offers an excellent display with an in-display fingerprint scanner, beat it up. It even has a headphone jack, an IP54 rating, and comes with a 67 watt charger in the box. And for all this, the asking price is 1399 RMB, which converts to about $190 US or 16,000 rupees Indian. So what do you guys think about the Redmi Note 13 Pro? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you made it this far, a like to the video and a sub to the channel is something I'd greatly appreciate. Thanks for your time. Have a nice day. Bye bye.